Righty, so hey, we're live.
We are live indeed. How's everyone doing out there tonight? All right, we're just waiting here for a moment. Let this load up. Let some people get on here. Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday, August 20th. My name is John Gardner. This is my wife and law partner, Radlin Mendoza.
Hey guys.
And we are the immigration law firm Gardner and Mendoza. We have been for 25 years. We're celebrating our 25th anniversary this year. So we've been at this for a bit, as our kids say.
A bit.
We've been at this
and we're matching today.
For a bit. That's right. We're matching. And so we come to you every Wednesday night from 8 o'clock until 9 o'clock. And we give you immigration updates, let you know what's going on in immigration law, things you should be aware of, things that you want to pay closer attention to, any changes in the law. And we also want to answer your questions. And so we ask everyone to get their questions loaded up. You can put them on Facebook if you're joining us on Facebook, or you can put them on TikTok if you're joining us on TikTok. And I want to say hello to everybody out there on TikTok. We're doing Facebook and TikTok at the same time. And so if you're out there on TikTok, hello, welcome to our broadcast, and get your questions going. I do want to warn you about something.
Oh, wait, before you do that.
Yes.
Before the warning.
If
you guys can't hear us for any reason, yes. We have been having some internet issues. We have changed devices, so hopefully that will work. But if for some reason you can't hear us, please let us know in the comments. We may not be able to see them right away, as was the last time, but we do, we will. Yeah. We will try to fix it. Hopefully that won't happen. We've changed devices, so
yeah. If you can hear us, let us know. Normally, I'm taking the questions in the order they come in, and I'm going to do that again tonight. But I will scroll down to the bottom occasionally just to make sure nobody's trying to frantically let us know that they can't hear a word that we're saying.
So, yeah, that would be bad. I'm sharing here too.
And I do want to let all of you on TikTok know that we just take the questions in the order they come in. So if you have a question, go ahead and get it posted. But if you just keep posting it over and over, that just slows everything down, because then we have to keep scrolling up and down to look for them. All right.
And we're gonna try to move fast today and not do a lot of lecturing like we do sometimes.
Yeah, well, we're gonna do a little bit of lecturing
a little bit.
I mean, I've got a little bit of lecture in me because of this this new policy memorandum involving naturalization.
So we'll talk about that.
While the scold some of you for dragging your feet all these years, and it just, like we've always keep telling you that the longer you wait, the harder it might get. So. Like
this may have come true on August the 15th.
Yeah, 6 months ago, if you've been listening to us and you ran right out and got everything filed, you would probably had an easier shot at everything. But not a panic situation, just a policy change. We're going to talk about it, and then we're going to talk about what it means for you if you're naturalizing, and talk about why it's more important than ever to have legal counsel. Hopefully it's us, but if it's not, then that's okay too. Just make sure that you have an immigration attorney in your corner when you're going through all this. All right. The warning now. The warning.
Cannot
forget the warning.
Before you say the warning, I just want to say hi to all the people who are joining on TikTok. We have quite the fan base, which is fun because they bring the questions on Wednesday night. And when we answer them, and when they ask the questions, and when all of you ask the questions, it helps everybody who may have the same question. So thank you.
We've got our attorney plaques up there from the Philippines.
Oh yeah, right. That's how you know one of us is Filipino, because of those things right there.
You probably can't guess which one, but take a shot at it.
You never know.
You never know. Anyway, so the warning that I have for you is that the warning that we have for you. I saw that.
Thank you.
Is that what we do here is for entertainment and educational purposes only. It is not legal advice. So what we're doing here is for educational and informational purposes, and hopefully some entertainment as well. But it is not.
Thank you, Cornita.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
And then, Serial Gooner here, who's gone after our painting behind us. It was done by our child when she was 7. So, hope you feel good about that, Serial Gooner. All right.
Yeah, we love original art.
Yeah, we do, especially when our kids did it. You probably don't have kids. Okay. So let's go and see. Let's go ahead and start with this policy memorandum, we can talk a little bit at first.
Yeah, and while you guys
about,
are loading up your questions, we'll
yeah.
answer
So, I mean, we do all immigration. We do business immigration. We do family immigration. We do marriage adjustment cases. We do H-1B visas. We do business L-1A visas. We do all kinds of stuff. All right, adjustment of status, family petitions, you name it. But one of the main things that we also do is naturalization. So those of you, who are familiar with, if you have a green card, you want to become a U.S. citizen, you can go through a process. And Radlin, why don't you talk a little bit about how things have been, and then we'll talk a little bit about what's changing. All right.
So the naturalization process, right now, things are going fairly quickly. So cases that we filed several months ago, they're already being adjudicated, which means that our clients are coming in for interviews. We've got cases that have been filed and done in 3-4 months, which is great. And that was kind of happening at the tail end of the Biden administration. And one thing that when the new administration came in, we, again, because of all the things happening with immigration, we told you guys to apply for U.S. citizenship if you are otherwise eligible to do that. And many of you did. Many of you have, and that's awesome. That's great. And John and I get up here and we talk about filing for U.S. citizenship, especially now, because we don't know what's going to happen to it, if it's going to change. And then maybe a few weeks ago or a month ago, I said things are going to change. They're going to get tougher. It might get more expensive. Eligibility requirements might change. So that time is now.
Mm-hmm. So
we predicted.
Yeah, one of the primary issues when you are becoming a U.S. citizen is showing good moral character. And typically in the past, that has been primarily shown by the absence of things, like as long as you didn't do X, Y, or Z, or you did it, but it was a certain time ago, then you are okay. And then there was, of course, the rest of the test, the civics test and all that, that's all the same. But the good moral character issue is a big part of the test. And on August 15th, USCIS put out a policy memorandum indicating that they are going to restore a more rigorous, holistic, what they call it, and comprehensive good moral character evaluation.
Yeah.
And instead of just looking and checking off things that you haven't done, they are going to take a broader look, a more subjective look at the overall moral character of the person, and have them more affirmatively establishing that they have good moral character. I'll read just one little bit. It says evaluating good moral character involves more than a cursory mechanical review focused on the absence of wrongdoing. It entails a holistic assessment of an alien's behavior, adherence to social norms, and positive contributions that affirmatively demonstrate good moral character. So that last sentence really catches my ear. Affirmatively demonstrate good moral character. That is not something that we have seen, where you're going in there and you're not just showing that you didn't do certain things, but you're also now going to be asked to show, well, what good things have you done? Show us that you have good moral character. Like,
right.
You say, oh, well, I didn't kill anyone. Well, yeah, big deal. Most people didn't kill anyone. What have you done in your community to show good moral character? And
don't apply for citizenship if you killed anyone, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a shift. And as I said at the very beginning, it's not necessarily a cause for panic, but it is a cause for being more careful and proactive in your preparation for your case. And I think it really, really, really warrants hiring an attorney to help you out, because there are red flags when we do naturalization cases. There are things that we see that we know are going to be an issue, and this is going to be a real blindsiding effect for some people.
Yeah,
I just know for a fact there are going to be self-filers that are going to go in there and they are not going to be ready for what's going to be coming at them. And so you really should call us if you want to apply for citizenship. The lecture part, is that, as Radlin said, I mean, we've been saying it for years. If you're a permanent resident and you have been for many years, give us a call, get a consultation, see if citizenship is right for you, whether it's going to work for you. And I say whether it's going to work for you because it doesn't work for everyone. I mean, there are some people who are permanent residents, and for various reasons, we tell them they should not naturalize. It might actually put them in a worse position. They may not be eligible, and they might cause more harm than they want. And so now more than ever, a good attorney can help you make sure that you have all of your evidence in order, that you can see ahead of time the bad stuff that's going to be coming at you, and how you can go about being prepared to show your positive attributes and contributions. I'll just read a couple of them that they named here specifically. One was sustained community involvement and contributions in the United States, family family caregiving, responsibility and ties in the United States, educational attainment, stable and lawful employment history and achievements, length of lawful residence in the United States, and compliance with tax obligations and financial responsibility in the United States.
So here's one thing that often comes up, and people ask me, they say, hey, my credit is bad, or I have filed for bankruptcy. Am I still going to be able to naturalize and become a U.S. citizen? So prior to this memo, the answer was yes. Yes, they don't look at your financial history. They don't look at whether you have applied for bankruptcy as it applies to good moral character. So this memo is indicating that bad credit or filing for bankruptcy could be one of the determining factors on whether you are going to be able to naturalize. Like, let's say you have no criminal record history at all. You've been a lawful permanent resident for 6 years, and you have steady employment. That's what and you go to work, you go home, you watch a couple of episodes of New Girl, you go to sleep, wash, rinse, and repeat, right? You get up, you go to work, you go home, you don't have any community involvement. Whatever. A lot of people don't have community involvement. You don't belong to any type of religious church or mosque or whatever. You're like many people who are pretty consumed by their work and just doing their job and not bothering anyone, and you're happy, right? That's your life. Fine. Maybe you don't even have family, but you have a bankruptcy or you've got bad credit. How would this sway the officer? This is one thing. It's not listed, in the Immigration and Naturalization Act. It's credit history is nowhere to be found. So it's just going to be interesting. And as John mentioned, everyone has to be more vigilant before filing for U.S. citizenship, if of course you want to get approved for naturalization. So this is a big, huge shift, in my opinion. And I think what's going to happen is that these cases are going to probably get longer because the interviews are going to take longer. So it's going to the officers are not going to be able to adjudicate as many N-400 interviews because they're going to have to go through more factors. And we will continue to report back to see what is going to happen here and how the local immigration officers are adjudicating the N-400. So yeah.
And then, I mean, a general rule just in any area of law is that the more subjective something is and the more burden is put on the person applying, the more prepared you have to be. And by burden, that's a legal term. It means like we have to be the ones to show something. We don't have to just show that's the absence of something. We have to affirmatively prove that we have good moral character. And it's going to be a lot more subjective with this new policy. And so you're going to want to make sure that you have more time with a professional to get prepared for it. And I would add, again, if you think you're eligible and you want to become a citizen, you should act sooner rather than later, not because this will change again, although it probably will. It might even get more stringent, but it will take time for, these policy changes take time to trickle down. I mean,
Yeah. That's
they
true.
come out with this policy change, but if you're just some local officer and you've been doing this for 25 years a certain way, it's going to take some time before you kind of really get your sea legs about what the new standards are and should be. So I think the sooner you get filed and in, the better off you are before they really start to establish more set criteria for what they're expecting you to bring to the table. They'll continue probably to lean on the old ways for a while. So move fast, which, we've been telling you for years. So
Yeah, and this really goes with all immigration applications. And I do realize that John and I, we have an immigration law business, right? We help people get green cards. We help people become U.S. citizens. We help people with work visas, H-1Bs, perms, as you mentioned before. And yeah, it goes to our benefit, right? If more people apply for U.S. citizenship and apply for green cards, absolutely it does. But we have seen what happens when a person does not take the steps that they need to take, that they can take, and it can be really devastating. And so, yes, we do have an immigration law firm and it is a business. And we have been open for 25 years and we were proud to have helped so many thousands of people in our community. And every person that we're able to help, it's a win for us, right? It makes us, it's just like what we do. This is why we do it. It's a win to be able to help a person get a green card, who then may be able to petition for other family members and then become a citizen and even petition for more family members. So those processes are still alive and well. Okay. They're you hear a lot of things on the news, but the things that we are able to do, we are absolutely doing it. And things are going really quickly. We file a marriage adjustment case, a family adjustment case. They're going very quickly. Naturalization cases are going very quickly. Why is this? There could be a strategy in the way that USCIS is processing these cases. They might be processing cases last in, first out. But also, there has definitely been a cooling effect because of all of the administration's negative immigration policies. But the fact of the matter is that applying for the green card, applying for citizenship right now, it's happening faster, especially with adjustment status. And a lot of people don't realize that, but we are seeing that. And this is actually being confirmed by our colleagues. So just look, guys, if you're sitting on your case and you have a case and you're sitting on it and you don't want to do anything, you want to wait the 3.5 more years until the President Trump goes out of office, right? You're making a big mistake, because N400s make it a lot tougher, more scrutiny. It might become more expensive. So
and you can't assume that in 3.5 years there'll be an administration that'll reverse course on all this. I mean, there's a possibility we'll just get 4 more years of similar policy, or
right.
even more stringent. So if you're doing a waiting game, I think you're taking a bad road myself.
Okay.
I think what you should do, like I said, is contact a professional, have them screen you and find out whether you're a good candidate and what would be required for you, not just for naturalization, but for any immigration case. There's sort of like I don't want to be extreme, but there's like a clock ticking here, and it's going to keep getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And so, time is of the essence, in my opinion. I think that you want to get moving before this stuff all gets more and more settled in to the system. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now is the time to act. And if you know what, if you're a bad candidate and we think your case is not going to work, maybe that's why you're not doing it. You're afraid, like, oh, I don't want to, what if I apply and, and now I'm in their crosshairs and now I have a problem on my hands. I have a good life right now. Why would I mess with that? Well, we can tell you that. That's the whole thing. If you call us and have a consultation, we're going to be able to tell you, no, don't file this. Just don't do it. It's a bad idea. Stay where you are. Stay the course. You're good. All right, we're gonna be able to give you that advice about whether or not you should move forward. So if that's your concern, you shouldn't have it. And I want to answer, somebody on TikTok asked a minute ago, the question was whether we work in New York City. The answer is yes. Immigration law is federal law, and so we practice in all the states, all over the country, all over the world. Our clients are all over the country and all over the world. So it doesn't really matter where you are. We do everything through Zoom, and all filings are done in whatever office is close to you. All right. And even then, it's not necessarily. If there's an interview, it will be. But anyway, okay.
Okay, so was this the first question?
The very first question.
Is Carolyn?
Carolyn wanted to know.
Thanks for the roads.
How does the
appreciate it.
interview look if I'm a medical traveler married to an illegal? Is her question.
So first, I personally don't think anyone, no human is illegal. So I always say undocumented, but that's personal preference. It really depends on what we're talking about. You're talking about an interview. Where are you in the process? When you say illegal, we talk about someone who's being undocumented, but how are they undocumented? Are they undocumented because they came in on a tourist visa and they overstayed? Or are you talking about somebody, your spouse has crossed the border or has entered the United States without permission, without a proper visa? Those questions need to be answered before I can tell you what an interview is going to look like. I will say that I invite you guys to take a look at USCIS's Instagram and their social media. It is 100% enforcement and related. Like 75 to 85% of them have someone in handcuffs, and it's always like, so-and-so visited our office. They didn't know that we didn't know. We knew that she was deported 24 years ago. And it's this person going away in handcuffs. So if you're filing and your case gets through and they call you in for an interview and your spouse is undocumented in the sense that he did not enter the United States with inspection and therefore shouldn't even be sitting in an adjustment of status interview, and unless there are some exceptions, then it's not going to look good, right? Because it's not going to look good for them, for your spouse, in the sense that your spouse may be the next Instagram post of USCIS with them in handcuffs because he or she was undocumented and got through somehow and gets arrested. So a lot of information, we need to know a lot more information there. I'm not saying we can't help people who have entered the United States without inspection and who are undocumented. We do it all the time. If we can follow the process and the path that is there set out for people under these particular types of circumstances, under these set of facts. And every case is different, but being without documentation in the United States, even if you're married to a US citizen, does not mean that you can proceed and follow the adjustment of status process and get an interview. So hopefully that answers your question. I know I kind of skipped around a little bit, but it's very, very clear that USCIS is working really closely with ICE and local law enforcement. And if there's anything that is in your case, whether you know about it or not, that is going to allow them to detain you, then you're going to go away in handcuffs. And it's very clear that that's what they're setting out to do. So with these filings and what John has said earlier, you have got to be vigilant. Now, we're immigration attorneys. We have an immigration team. We have an amazing legal team. Go check out our reviews at Gardner and Mendoza. And whether it's us or whether it's another professional, another immigration attorney with a good reputation, you've got to get counsel, guys. Like you can't do this on your own. You shouldn't do it on your own. And we come here every Wednesday, and I know that maybe it's sometimes frustrating if you're hearing this. We want, the reason why we're here is not for you to take what we're telling you and just be like, okay, that's really helpful. Let me go fill out my N400 application all on my own. That's not why we're here. We want you to hire a lawyer. It does not have to be us. Hire a reputable attorney. This is our public service to the community, right? It's to answer your questions. It's to get your your brain working. Like, okay, yeah, that's good information. Let me go do some research and find an attorney, or maybe I'll just call Radler and John at their office and meet with them. It doesn't matter. We care that you hire a reputable professional. It would be great if it were us, but that's the bottom line, guys, especially now. So please don't just go in there with your spouse who's undocumented. You mentioned that you are a medical traveler. That's awesome. Like, we need people like you. And you don't want to have to worry about your spouse while you're doing the important work that you do. So, all right, let's see here. Felicia, hello, Felicia. How are you? Great to see you. Her question is, what is your recommendation for people who have expired work visas and are relying on their U.S. income and living situation? So I think that the question that Felicia is asking is, what do these people do, right? You're here in the United States. Maybe you entered the United States and you came in with a work visa that is now expired, but you didn't leave. What are you supposed to do, right? You're still working. You don't have the proper documentation to work. I would, again, get your case evaluated by an immigration attorney to see if there's anything that is possible for you. Do you have family members? Do you have a possibility of going a humanitarian route? Have you ever been the victim of a crime? Do you have a employer who might be able to petition for you if you meet other requirements, like you're grandfathered under 245I, and therefore there may be an exception for you. So I would say an evaluation, and frankly, a lot of times there's not anything that we can do, right? But wouldn't you rather know that there isn't anything that we can do about your immigration case at this point in time? I would want to know. And you would also want to know what the consequences are. And you would also want to try to be as prepared as possible for worst case scenario. And worst case scenario for Felicia, for someone in this situation who's living in the United States without permission, undocumented, because their status is expired. They're working, they're able to work for whatever reason, that's common. What are the steps that you can take to further protect yourself and your family and the life that you're living in the United States? You need to save money, right? You need to save money for a possible bond. You need to get a power of attorney to make sure that all the things that you have and care for are cared for, including your children. Maybe there's a custody order. So these are very scary things to think about. And I know in my family's culture, I'm Filipino, we didn't like to talk about these unsavory things. We didn't like to plan for the worst case scenario because we're superstitious. Like, oh my gosh, if I do a will, I'm going to die tomorrow. Well, I mean, you're not going to know, but seriously, these are the types of things and conversations that I heard my whole life, not just in the Filipino community, but I grew up in a grocery store, international grocery store. And I heard this from many people who simply, life is busy, but it's also like, I don't want to have to worry about getting a power of attorney in the event that I get picked up because I'm undocumented. I don't want to do that. Well, you should do it. You have to do it. So preparing for the worst case scenario is something that you should do. And when John and I go out of town, we make sure that our documents are in order. I mean, even the last time we went, and every time we go somewhere far, it doesn't matter if near or far. Like there's always something can happen to you, right? Knock on wood. But I told John, I was like, put the will on the desk. He's like, why? It's like, well, so whoever comes here doesn't have to go searching for the will, right? It's like, oh, which wow, they left the will right on the desk. So we got back, and even though I did this very unlucky thing of putting the will out on the table when we left for our drink, we came back. So it's not real. The superstition is not real. And I don't have to tell you guys that, but be prepared.
Yeah, you can be angry, you can be afraid. I get it, but neither of those things is going to move the ball forward.
Yeah.
So being angry about it and being upset about the changes isn't gonna change anything or fix anything. What you need to do is be smart and figure out how you're gonna navigate it. You know, it's like you're trying to get to California and you're cruising through Kansas and it seems simple. It's flat, no obstacles, and you're like, this is going to be as easy as can be. Then you hit the Rocky Mountains and you're like, oh shit.
Are you swearing on our Facebook?
Shoot.
Man, what's this world coming to?
There's a lot of that's what am I going to do about this? I hate this. Everything was so cool. We were just cruising across Kansas, smooth as silk. And now we have these huge mountain ranges that we got to get through. I mean, you can just quit and turn around and not do it at all. Or maybe somebody comes along and says, hey, you know what? I've traveled through those mountains thousands of times back and forth. I know every single route. I know every obstacle in there. I know every pitfall. I know all the tricks. I know it all. I can get you to California. And if it's not going to be possible to get you to California, I'm going to tell you, and you can head back through Kansas and back east. All right. That's what this is. There are new obstacles. There is no question about it. There have been a lot of changes and they've happened very rapidly and they're continuing to happen rapidly. And we just have to be smart and figure out what the playing field is and be navigating it. Okay.
Yep. Absolutely.
Period.
100%.
Okay. Alex up here on TikTok wants to know, can I apply N400 3 or 5 years if the I-751 approved based on extreme cruelty?
So Alex, really good question. I know that if it's a VAWA, then you can do 3 years. I believe that with an I-751, you can as well. Again, this is information, and I would definitely have an immigration attorney, you know, when you file for N400, that we're right on that. But I do believe that is correct, but I'm not 100% sure. Let me just actually pull up the yeah. All right, here's another question. I was going to pull this up, but we have too many questions. I was going to pull up the N400. Okay. Faye says, is it safe to travel outside of the United States if you have an airport to airport history 10 years ago? I don't know what an airport to airport history is, Faye. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that either, an airport to airport history.
Not sure what that is. If you give me a little bit more detail, I might be able to help with that. But this is a good opportunity to talk about travel outside of the United States.
Yeah.
And coming back in as a lawful permanent resident. So there are just several factors that we want you to take a mental note of when you are traveling outside the United States as a lawful permanent resident, to make sure that you're going to be able to get back in. The number one thing is, do you have a criminal record history that would bar you from coming back in as a lawful permanent resident? Or do you have a criminal record history that doesn't necessarily bar you, but maybe you haven't paid all your fines, or maybe you haven't done the probation, and maybe it's years old and you forgot to do something about your case? Is the case resolved? Okay. So criminal record history is a big thing. If you do have a criminal record history, we highly recommend that you bring a certified disposition with you to show what the outcome of your criminal record history was, and go a step further, go back to your immigration lawyer and ask them to write a letter that this is something that does not make you inadmissible as a lawful permanent resident. So that's one thing, a lot of different things under that one thing. The second thing is, have you in the past ever abandoned your green card? Have you stayed outside of the United States for more than a year and you intended to abandon the lawful permanent residence? Actually, it doesn't have anything to do with intent. It has, well, it does have to do with intent, the intent to abandon, but it's also the facts that deal with your leaving the United States. Maybe you leaving the United States and staying outside the United States. Maybe you went to your country and COVID hit and you couldn't get back in for over a year. Well, we need proof of that. We need to show that it was during COVID. We need to show that you tried, that your airlines weren't flying you back. It's okay if you do that and there's something to back it up, but we need to make sure that you prove that you had the ties to the United States. So that's one thing. The other thing is marijuana use, and marijuana use or any type of drug use can make you inadmissible to the United States. So be careful with that. The other thing is your history, your immigration history. How did you get your green card? Do you have any misrepresentations or any fraud or any false things that you may have completed in your application, and you know in your heart of hearts that I really shouldn't have gotten this green card, because had I been truthful on this application, I probably would not have gotten this green card. So these are the things that concern us. Did I forget anything?
No, one thing I wanted to add is just a cautionary note is for many years I did criminal defense, and almost all of my clients were non-U.S. citizens, not necessarily undocumented, but just not U.S. citizens. And any non-U.S. citizen has different concerns and things they should be worried about and paying attention to when they have criminal charges. And one common pitfall for folks is believing that a case dismissed under a deferred disposition is a dismissal.
Oh, yes.
For immigration purposes, it is not. So be very careful if you think, you had a domestic assault and battery or marijuana possession or solicitation of prostitution. These were common ones. And these are all the kinds of charges where, you go to court, you do some community service, you go back to court, you didn't have any more problems, judge dismisses the charge. And in your mind, you're thinking, okay, well, yeah, I had that charge, but it got dismissed. If it was dismissed because of some deferment program, that is not a dismissal for immigration purposes. So be super, super careful with those situations.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So the crazy thing is tonight is Felicia texted. I mean, she came on to our live, and I was just thinking about Anne Marie today and ROTC for whatever reason. So I hope she's doing well. Mia graduated and is headed off to Chicago. So thanks for joining our live, Felicia.
Okay.
And she go ahead, grab a question. I'm gonna grab.
Yeah, Omar wanted to know here, once the citizenship interview is scheduled, how far away is it normally? 3 days, 2 weeks? Is this question?
I see. So it's usually 3 weeks before. So once you get your interview notice, it's about 3 to 4 weeks before you're walking in there to do your interview.
All right. And one here real quick, this is kind of off our normal. We usually get a lot of questions about travel and timelines. But this person wants to know, does the Philippines and the United States allow for dual citizenship?
So the United States, as of now, the United States and USCIS and the US government, there's no prohibition against becoming a US naturalized citizen and then retaining your country's citizenship if your country allows that. So the Philippines does allow you to, get your citizenship back again after you've naturalized and become a US citizen. So that is relatively new, maybe in the last 15 years or so. I know that sounds old, 15 years, but it's pretty new that the Philippines allowed dual citizenship of their citizens. So what you have to do is go to the Philippine embassy and apply for your Philippine passport again. All right, great question though. So Felicia makes this comment. She says with the previous question that she had about somebody who's undocumented and working in the United States, they're afraid to do anything about their expirations because they are afraid. And that's so true. I would be scared too, honestly. I mean, I would be scared too. There is a spotlight being shown and a flashlight, whatever, is kind of like looking in all the nooks and crannies of people who may be undocumented here in the United States and removing them from the United States. So there's a lot of media about this, and we're seeing it on the news, and it's real. And so it is scary. It's scary to even talk to immigration attorneys and our immigration attorneys like us. It is scary, but you can rest assured that when you go and speak with a reputable immigration attorney like us, the consultation is confidential, right? And there's no aspect of the US government involved in that initial consultation. So a lot of people are afraid. Sometimes they ask about, where is this information going to be shared? It's a confidential consultation, and we start off our consultations with, we just want to remind you that whatever you talk to us about during this consultation is confidential. We're not your attorneys yet, but this is a confidential communication.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
All right, we push forward. Dee here wants to know, she says, can a permanent resident who filed a waiver to remove conditions but only received a 48-month extension file an N-400?
So I love this question because I know the answer. It's not that hard to know the answer, but there's an answer and a strategy. So the answer is yes. If you file your I-751 and you receive the receipt notice. So for everyone who's listening, people who have the 2-year conditional resident card must file a petition, the I-751, to remove those conditions on the green card in order to get the 10-year card. So the form is the I-751, and the I-751 is taking so long that I bang the table on the camera shut. It's taking so long that they're issuing our clients a 48-month receipt notice, basically saying your green card is going to be renewed and is valid for the next 48 months. The last I checked with my multiplication, 48 months is 4 years, right? 4 dang years. So what do you do when you file the I-751? You file it in 1 year and 9 months, right? You file it in that window. And then 2 years and 9 months from the time you got your 2-year conditional resident card rolls around. And that's the time that you can actually apply for U.S. citizenship early if you are married to a U.S. citizen for at least 3 years and living with that U.S. citizen for at least 3 years, and that U.S. citizen has been a U.S. citizen for at least 3 years, right? Should your 751 is pending, you've got this 48 months receipt notice. What about naturalization? The answer is yes. You can file your N-400 when it's time to file your N-400, even though you have an I-751 pending. We highly encourage our clients to do that. It often speeds up the process because naturalization is much faster. And I feel like there's a priority in getting people naturalized. So great question. I knew the answer and a strategy.
Okay, next question here is, my I-130 was approved. What is next? Kind of an open-ended question.
So that is an open-ended question. I mean, if your I-130 was approved and you are abroad and you're going through a process called consular processing, what that means is the next thing that's going to happen is USCIS is going to send your approved I-130 petition to the National Visa Center. It's going to take about 30 to 60 days to make that transfer. Once it is sent to the National Visa Center and received, then you will receive instructions from the National Visa Center to create an account, pay the NVC fee bills, upload the documents, complete the DS-260, do everything that you need to do with the NVC. Usually it's about 3 to 4 months there. The next step after that is once there's a visa slot for you in your country, then a visa interview will be scheduled as well as a medical, and you will go to your medical and then you will go to your interview. You're going to have a successful interview, hopefully, and they will give you a visa stamp for your immigrant visa, and you'll be able to come to the United States. In a nutshell.
Okay, great answer. So I was just scrolling down. I wanted to make sure that we weren't having any sound issues. Before we get to the next question, I do want to just renew a couple things. I want to reintroduce. I'm John Gardner. This is my wife and law partner, Radlin Mendoza. We are the immigration law firm Gardner and Mendoza. And I also want to warn you that what we do here is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not legal advice. If you want to reach out to us, our phone number is 757-464-9224, or you can email us info@gmlaw.net. All right. You want to grab an EB1 question?
Yeah,
here?
sure. How much higher is the standard of proof for EB1 versus EB2 national interest waiver? So they're totally different, right? They are totally different in the sense that they have different requirements. So we can say when you say standard of proof, you know, I when I think of standard of proof, I think of, you know, more likely than not, right? It's a preponderance of the evidence. I don't think that's what you're asking, but it depends on, like, the EB1 and your person of extraordinary ability. Can you hit the requirements or not, right? The same thing goes for EB2 national interest waiver. Are you going to be able to hit the requirements in order to show that it is in the national interest to allow you to go through this process without doing a labor certification? So standard of proof really depends on a person's qualifications and a person's, you know, what they have. It could even fit more, be a better case under EB1 versus the national interest waiver. Now, my very first EB1 national interest waiver case, I filed both, and we got both. So that may be an appropriate thing to do as well. It just depends. So, are you a person of extraordinary ability? Did you win a one-time prize, right? Did you win the Nobel Peace Prize? Did you? And that's just one example of many, right? Most of our EB1 cases, we had to show several different things. You know, we don't have a Nobel Peace Prize client. I mean, we do have clients who have won Olympic medals, not a gold, right? Silver and bronze, Pan Am, you know, so it just really depends. And you may qualify under both. You may, with your credentials, qualify under only one. So it's definitely on a case-by-case basis.
We know a gold medalist is coming in sometime, though.
Do we?
Yeah, it'll happen.
Oh, okay. You're just predicting.
I can feel it.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, it takes a lot of documentation for both types of cases, an EB1 case and a national interest waiver. I mean, we're working on a few now, and it takes a lot. So
medalists, world champions. We've had some really great. Again, we've been doing this for 25 years, so we've had some really great cases. King Kojo wants to know if you have an I-797 extension letter, can you travel?
So the I-797 extension letter, I mean, if it is extending your permanent resident card, an I-90, are you talking about an I-90 receipt? Because I-797 is a basically the form, but let's just assume it's an I-90 797, and I-90 is when a person renews their green card. And you have to look on your receipt notice to make sure that, you know, whatever application you file, that it is allowing you to travel. So if it is extending your green card, then yes, you are able to travel on it. Just like the person who talked about the I-751, they have an I-751 797. It is extending their green card for 48 months. So
All right. And we've got
no questions on the Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook questions are a little light tonight, but you know what? Not a problem, because TikTok always brings them. We can always count on our TikTok family out there. Sylvie wants to know, I've filed for my husband for 2 years now, but no response.
Sylvia, is that what you said?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So hopefully you've
Sound
gotten
like the kids. Mm-hmm.
hopefully you've gotten a receipt notice. And if you have a receipt notice for, what kind of case was it?
She didn't say. She said she filed for her husband.
Oh, okay. So if we're talking about, I mean, there could be a lot of different things here. If you filed an I-130 petition for your spouse and you are a lawful permanent resident of the United States, you're not going to hear, you have to check the processing times, USCIS case processing times, to see how long it's taking, right? I believe it's taking about 48 months, 4 years. So if, I mean, one, the inquiry is, did you get a receipt notice? If you did, what type of case is it? Is it an I-130 and you're a permanent resident? Then you have some time left to wait. If you are a U.S. citizen, right now they're taking about 17 months for an I-130 petition if you're doing consular processing. So you're outside of processing times, you can actually call and make an inquiry to USCIS. Now, if we're talking about an adjustment of status case for your spouse and he's here, again, you'd have to check processing times for the green card, the I-485, to see how long cases are processing. I will tell you that we have filed cases that are taking much longer than the new cases that we're filing now. You know, it isn't fair, but as we tell our kids, and as someone drilled into our head in law school, like every single day, whenever we went to this professor, life isn't fair. Get over it. Right. So
yeah, he was a federal judge in the Third Circuit in New Jersey, who was an adjunct professor just for fun, and he was hard.
He was a
no nonsense kind of
he was a no nonsense kind of guy. And our poor kids have heard this. Life isn't fair.
Life isn't fair. Get over it.
You know, but it's really, going back to the question, it really depends on, are you doing consular processing? Are you a permanent resident? If it's a green card case, that can be the case, because if you filed it 2 years ago, then those cases may still be pending. And yeah, reach out to us if you want us to help you out to find out what is going on with that, if your case has fallen outside of processing times. And for those of you on TikTok, our office number is 757-464-9224, or you can shoot us an email at info@gmlaw.net. You can always also go to the bio and send us a message there. All righty.
All right.
Got a couple more questions
Yeah,
here.
we can get a couple more in. Kay wants to know, any update for a visa for a U.S. citizen parent petitioning an unmarried child over 21? She said they filed in 2018.
But what country, though? What country? So
Let's
U.S.
see.
citizen parent filing for, did you say unmarried child?
Unmarried child over 21. Over 21.
So final action days 2018 for that category. unmarried. That's the F1 category. 2018. Philippines, the cutoff date is July 15th, 2012. So what that means is 2028, right? Wait, I'm sorry. 20 what's the priority date? 2018?
2018. I'm sorry. I was reading
2018.
something
Okay.
here, yeah.
So if
2018.
you're from the Philippines, that's going to take 6 more years. If the beneficiary is from Mexico, the cutoff date is April 22nd, 2005. I'm looking at the September visa bulletin. It's a little bit early from that. So that's what is 2005. I'm sorry. 05 minus 2018. This is a calculation. I should never be doing math in public. I need a calculator.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry.
it's long. Okay.
Sorry, I was reading. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, you're not
I'm
paying
sorry.
attention.
I
need
not-
your help here.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
With the math.
What's the math here?
So the cutoff date is 2005 for Mexico. This person filed in 2018. So that's a 13-year wait.
Yeah.
Philippines is 6-year wait. India, China, and all other countries, it's going to be about the cutoff date is July 15th of 2016. So that's only a couple more years. But if you're from Mexico, if the beneficiary is from Mexico or the Philippines, it's going to be longer.
Yeah.
So, you failed me there on the subtraction.
I
don't know what you're reading.
I was going to answer. Tin came in a little late and said he wants to know what changes are they doing for naturalization and citizenship. And I was just
big changes.
I was looking for the money quote. The money quote is, going forward, USCIS officers must account for an alien's positive attributes and not simply the absence of misconduct. In evaluating whether or not an alien has met the requirements of establishing good moral character, the officer must take a holistic approach. In evaluating whether or not an alien seeking naturalization has affirmatively established that he or she has met their burden of establishing they are worthy of assuming the rights and responsibilities of United States citizenship. Tin, that's the change.
It's a big change.
Pretty big one.
It's a pretty big change.
And in case you don't know, Tin, the change is that, all this language about, affirmatively showing good moral character, that's different than the past, where you've just showing good moral character was really all about just showing that you didn't have bad moral character, for lack of a better way of saying it, by showing that you didn't do certain things, that you didn't have certain strikes against you. All right. Now that's not enough to just say, oh, well, I don't have any of. There are none of the things in my record that knocked me out of the box. They say, okay, that's great. None of the things that knocked you out of the box are there. But what else do you have to show me that you're a good person and that you are worthy of establishing having citizenship?
I used credit bankruptcy as, potentially a person may not be a person of good moral character, and taken as a whole, if you filed for bankruptcy, should you become a U.S. citizen? You haven't, you're not statutorily unable to become a U.S. citizen. You don't have any crimes. You support your children, but you have a bankruptcy. Or yes.
Yeah, no, go ahead. We're going to run out of time here.
We have run out of time.
Very quickly, I just wanted, there are some things in this memo that are just, if you want to watch this later, here are some of them that can help you. These are some things that can show that, you have reformed and rehabilitated some of your bad conduct. One is to rectify overdue child support payments or other family obligations. One is to show that you have complied with probation or other conditions imposed by a court. One is to have community testimony from credible sources attesting to your ongoing good moral character.
Hold on, let me pause here. So for all of our clients who have wanted to bring a letter to the N400,
That's right.
like, oh, can I bring a letter to my pastor? Or my boss wants to write a letter for me. The answer is yes. You should be bringing that letter for the N400 apparently interview. Yeah. Bring that letter now. Bring all the letters.
One is to show reformation or mentoring those with similar past.
So
Yeah. One is full repayment of overpayment of benefits. So like, you know, if you got overpaid some benefits and you know it, then pay them back so you can show that you knew that you got too much and
overpaid
you are
and I know
a
it.
very honest person. And so you sent the money back. And then lastly, full payment of overdue taxes. You can still show a payment plan, which is what most people do. But if you can show full payment now, that's going to be a good job.
This is going to be quite an interesting.
Yeah. It's going to take some time for this to settle in, folks. I'm telling you, move fast. Get going right now. So, you know, you're in front of an officer who doesn't really know yet what the whole memo thing is going to be all about.
Or maybe doesn't even care.
Or doesn't care. Or
no, I'm not saying that the officers don't know or don't care.
No, but when you've done something a certain way
Yeah.
for a long time, you know, it takes you a while to get in the habit of changing it. And so the sooner you get going with this, you're going to be in better shape. Promise.
D Strong has a question. How long does it take to get a reply for a work permit under a U visa? So when you mean reply, I'm assuming you mean like how long does it take to get the U visa in the mail in hand? I would have to take a look at current processing times. I'm a wild guess because this is how long they usually take with other applications is 6 to 8 months, but they may be faster or slower. I don't know the exact answer to that.
Okay, folks, we are past 9 o'clock. Actually, we're almost 5 minutes past 9, so we went long tonight. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Thanks for your great questions. Hopefully we can help you out. Please give us a call, reach out to us, and we'd love to talk to you, schedule a consultation. And again, at least then you'll know what your options are and what your best course of action should be. All right, folks?
Awesome.
We will see you next Wednesday.
2 thumbs up, guys. See you next Wednesday.
2 thumbs up. All right. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye-bye. I can't end stream. No, really.